All right, and welcome into another edition of the Jazz Nation podcast. My name is Daniel. I am the admin of all those Jazz Nation pages that you're following online through Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Yeah, my microphone's falling. YouTube. Maybe I think there's a MySpace page out there. The links for all those pages you can find in one simple spot. It's go to linktree.com/JazzNation News. Boy, the microphone falling just really threw me off there for a second.
Man.
Boy, guess that's what happens.
Gonna be a professional.
There we go. All right, let's try this. And with me, like he is occasionally, but most of the time, but always, sometimes, is the assistant to the host. His name is Mr. Will Wonder. How you doing today, sir?
I'm good. And to be clear, sometimes you're not here either, and I'm here. So it's good to be here with you.
That was one time, and it was kind of a big time, but I was still kind of there. It is.
Oh, you were there.
It is what it is.
Moment. Your ear, your nose. But that's not what we're here to talk about. There's just some stuff going on.
There's a lot of stuff going on, but real quick, I just want to touch on that. During the draft day, there was a live stream. Appreciate you. And who are the guests again that were on there with you?
My boy Mike Thompson and Kurt Pruitt, both. Yeah.
So
3 hours and 15 minutes we did it.
Thanks so much to you three guys for stepping in and doing that. I believe there was plenty of Jazz fans that stepped on there and had a good time chatting with you guys. So
shout out to everyone who came through.
Good times. And to everyone that was wondering where I was in San Jose then for a concert. And I got to say, I kind of said it at some point in the stream apparently, but San Jose, you're an interesting town because have you ever been to San Jose?
Don't think so. No.
So I got there, and when I booked the hotel, I did it through Priceline, right? And you know how Priceline, it gives you that deal where you can say you're in a certain area or this area or whatever. So I stayed. I was going for a concert. So my point was to try and get as close to the concert venue as I could.
Right.
So I picked the downtown area. And when you hear downtown, you're thinking, oh, there's going to be good restaurants, probably good bars, places to check out and things like that, right?
Not everywhere Salt Lake, okay?
Well, that's San Jose. There's not. We get there, and on our Uber ride in, I go, hey, what's there to do around here? He's like, well, there's a good market thing. It's a place called Market. A lot of good stuff over there. Okay. So we go check it out. And literally it's just a giant road kind of a thing. They block off. You can't drive through anything, but it's good food.
Okay.
Good spot and everything. But
Maybe
that's the only thing. But what the point is, that's the only spot to do in the whole downtown. Everything else is like, let's just say this. There's got to be a lot of money in San Jose because every building I looked at, it's like, oh, here's Adobe. Oh, here's Zoom. Oh, here's AT&T. Like, there's a lot of tech in that town and not a lot of like things for these tech people do besides this one market spot. So I'm just saying San Jose, I just maybe downtown San Jose where I was kind of underwhelming.
Let down. I'm sorry about that.
But the concert was great. I went and saw Blink-182. They were great. It was a good time. And now we're back. And for everyone wondering, like, what took us so long to do another podcast after the draft? Well, that's why. Because you know how it is when you go
gallivanting. Yeah.
When you go out on a trip or something, it takes you a couple of days to regroup yourself and get back in full.
Do you remember coming on the stream for a few minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. Just
sure. I wasn't that crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, there was a draft that happened. Let's start with that news, shall we? So the Utah Jazz kept all three picks. I was kind of surprised by that. And ended up with the ninth pick. Wasn't much of a surprise if we're all being honest. They end up with Taylor Hendricks, the 6'9" forward from UCF, who's 19 years old. I mean, no big surprise there. I mean, were you surprised when the Jazz ended up with him at 9th? I guess.
No. In the moment, I was thinking, maybe they go with Whitmore, and then you found out all the stuff about Whitmore later on. But no, I wasn't surprised. Good fit, good player, good shooter, good defensive player. So no, it is good pick. Good pick.
Have we actually found out about Whitmore? Because I'm still curious what the hell happened with him.
I guess my sources. I'm just kidding. I don't have sources. But what I had heard today from Ryan Russillo was that his knees are a lot worse off than what a lot of people than what were led to be said. I guess. I don't know. I don't know exactly how he put it, but that's what he was when he talked to a number of different people at different teams. That's what they were saying the reason for him falling.
Wow.
Something with the knees. Yeah.
Interesting. Well,
and the whole coach thing, right? The Villanova coach not speaking up for him, not being a fan. But if you ask me, that just hurts Villanova going forward.
That's kind of weird to do that, to bash someone going out, but okay.
Yeah.
Listen, I've said it. I said it multiple times. We all knew I was big on Cam. So even though he's not on the Jazz, I hope, it'll be cool if he can still do like a comeback story, and
Yeah.
hopefully he doesn't just like whip the Jazz butt and something. But anyways, next pick was the Jazz at number 16. This was also, I don't feel like a big surprise because, leading up to the draft, this guy was talked about with the Jazz quite highly, and that's Keontae George, the 6-foot guard from Baylor, 19 years old. I got to be honest, though.
6'4", right? He's 6'4".
Yeah, 6'4". I got to be honest, though. So I've been listening to a lot of podcasts recently after the draft and things like that, and one of the podcasts I listened to said he didn't play a whole lot of point guard. He was almost like a shooting guard, small forward for Baylor. So It's going to be interesting to see how the Jazz, because obviously everyone knows they need help with the point guard position. So it's going to be interesting to see if they try and adjust him to the point guard position. I heard also that he, I guess in high school, was kind of more of a point guard, but had to adjust when he got to college. I don't know. What are your thoughts on the pick, and what do you think he can do for the Jazz, I guess?
I really liked him at 16. I mean, I don't see him as a point guard. I know that's been reported that, that's what the Jazz want him to do. But also, I mean, we're going to get to it here in a minute, but a lot of people would have said 3.5 hours ago that Taylor Hendricks would probably be starting at power forward for the Utah Jazz. And that's obviously changed. So, but I did love the pick. He has really good potential. There's obviously like a few question marks around him, but at 16, I think it's a solid get.
I forgot to do this for Taylor Hendricks, but his NBA comparison, according to this Bleacher Report article I found, is Bobby Portis. I also found there was one of the podcasts I was listening to compared him to, who was the guy that was on the Trailblazers?
Jeremy Grant.
Not Grant.
Oh, that's who I would have. Very similar to him, but probably a better outside shooter.
No, but I could see that too. But so, would you say if that's like your comparison to Bobby Portis, Jeremy Grant? That's, a ninth pick.
Bobby
That's
Portis
pretty good, right?
Really good. Yeah, I mean, he's done well in the NBA. Yeah, I think he has a potential to be better than both of those guys. But yeah.
And then the comparison for Keontae George, they have down Eric Gordon, an Eric Gordon type player. I mean, does that sound like a pretty good comparison to you, or?
Yeah, I think he could be Eric, because that's a very similar, shorter 2-guard. I thought if he gets to his potential, something similar to Bradley Beal, but who knows if he can get to that point. But yeah, that's good, Eric Gordon. And then I like those comps better, because a lot of times you read comps and it's like, oh, shades of Karl Malone mixed with, Tim Duncan. And it's like, yeah, okay.
Calm down. So at the time we're recording this, it's Monday the 26th, and actually today is when all 3 draft picks of the Jazz came in and got introduced. Taylor Hendricks during his introduction sounded good. He sounded like, well-spoken. He did mention, I don't know if a lot of folks out there know this, but he actually didn't end up working out for the Jazz before the draft because he had a little minor injury. I guess he had tweaked his hamstring. He said. He says he's feeling much better now. He wants to play in Summer League. Me watching that that media introduction, the vibe I'm getting is it doesn't sound 100% sure he'll play in Summer League. I mean, Salt Lake Summer League starts next week, folks. Basically a week from today that you're listening to this, if it's going on. So I personally would not be surprised if they hold him out for Salt Lake Summer League and maybe let him play in Vegas Summer League, just because there's, let's be honest, better competition down there, more eyes on it and stuff like that. But we'll see. George, no problems with him. He should be able to play in Summer League. So
perfect.
There. Now we get to the third pick. And I think this is the shocker of it all for the Jazz at number 28. First off, that they even kept the pick. I was shocked by that. But they pick Bruce Sensabaugh with the 28th pick. 6'6" forward. Bryce. What did I just say? Bruce?
You said Bruce. It's okay. You're getting back in the swing of things here.
I guess that shows how invested I was in that pick. I'm sorry. Bryce Sensabaugh. 28th pick. 6'6" forward out of the Ohio State, 19 years old. Look, like I said, I was out of town during the draft. When this pick came in, I was like in the concert, not fully paying attention to the draft because, again, I didn't think this pick was going to happen. I saw it and I went, who? Because he was not, when I was even looking in the 20th area, his name wasn't one there that I even remember seeing. So I was very surprised by this pick. And when I've kind of done some look into him now, I mean, there's injury histories. He seems to be a little overweight compared to players coming into the NBA draft. I have a lot of concerns about this pick. What about you? should I be concerned, or am I overthinking it here?
I didn't love the pick. I watched him a couple of times there at Ohio State. He had he did pretty decent when he was like non-conference play, right? Had a couple of good games there. But it's kind of like you said, like he is a bigger kid, right? I think he's 235, 240, 6'6". I just didn't love it. I don't know. Maybe you're just trying to hope for potential. Like there was a comp for him, like to Bonzi Wells, which like if he ends up being Bonzi Wells, then like cool, it's worth it. But I just don't. I don't think, and this may be just a slight knock on Ohio State, but them producing any pros that have really outlasted outside of D'Angelo Russell, right? I'm not at the top of my head. I have to go back and actually look through that, but that they haven't been great at doing so. He did score quite a bit, so he can do that. But I just don't know if he's going to be the same type of. He's not going to be. I don't think he's going to be a great or even a good NBA player.
And then
that was really rude because he's probably a great human being. But
no, I mean, okay. Again, he was there at the introductions today and stuff, and he sounded really, nice and well spoken and all that. But like, so some of the guys that went, I mean, one player that, I mean, I didn't pay attention to big after the players that went after, but one that went after him that I was very surprised the Jazz passed on was Miller, who a lot of I had seen in the recent mocks had the Jazz taking him at 16. So I was very surprised on that when I saw that. Look,
yeah, I think with that pick, if you're going to try to, have a big upside there, then Miller probably would have been the guy to take.
I mean, it definitely has got to be upside though. Just because the thing, like my biggest thing is just the injury history. I mean, the fact that he didn't even finish his college career because he was out with an injury, right? I mean, that's kind of concerning. And then today during the player introductions, he said, he's going to meet with the medical staff. He couldn't confirm also if he's going to play in summer league, so that's not a good sign. I mean, I guess when you're at the 28th pick. It's really, it is what it is on that. You're taking a risk either way. The vibe I'm totally getting is that, I would expect if you're a Jazz fan, probably don't expect him to be with like the Jazz for most of the season, unless he's probably going to start off the Stars in the G League, which is fine. Let him go down there and fix on his health, get in, conditioning and all that. And if he can show off his game good enough, he can always move up. I mean, let us never forget that a young Rudy Gobert had to start out in, it wasn't called the G League then. What was it called? The D
League?
Was the D League?
Developmental. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is,
I don't remember when it changed to G, but yeah.
Then back then our team was up in Idaho. It was like the Idaho Stampede or something like that.
Correct.
So just remember, I mean, some players can use that to their benefit, A
lot of good players go to the G League and come out of it later on. I mean, but I think also with Sensabaugh, the guys who are potentially going to be ahead of him, it's going to be hard for him to get playing time in front of those, especially his rookie season.
Right. So it would, for him, it feels like it would benefit him a lot to play in the summer league and maybe show off that, this is what I am. This is why they picked me. But personally, I would not be surprised if he just doesn't play summer league at all. But we'll see. Too early for official announcements on that, but we shall see. So, let's stay with the draft real quick. And your Orlando Magic, by the way, kind of surprising a little bit with the first pick, but not a whole lot. They take Anthony Black, which a lot of Jazz fans were probably hoping could slip, but I think leading up to the draft, it became more and more obvious that he was definitely not going to be there at 9. I think most thought he was going to go to the Wizards at 8, but that didn't happen. So how are you feeling with your guy, Anthony Black there with the Magic now?
I feel good. I mean, I think Orlando has a very young, deep, talented team. It's just trying to whittle out those who are constantly injured. And someone was like, oh, you have so many guards. But when you look at it, Markelle Fultz is injured quite a bit. Jalen Suggs is injured quite a bit. Cole Anthony does get injured as well. Like, it just seemed like last year was just like who's starting today? Who's healthy today? So adding Anthony Black, I mean, 6'7", tough guard, really great vision, can get to the hoop. Obviously, everyone's like, oh, he can't shoot. Like, that was the one thing I saw a lot of Jazz Twitter afterward. Oh, thank God we didn't draft Black. He can't shoot. And, maybe you're right. But at the same time, I think he has a lot of potential. And on that team, there's a lot of other players there who can fill that void of shooting or will happily try to. And I think he's going to be good. The Jet Howard pick was a little early for me at 11. Probably would have went with Grady Dick, but whatever, it's fine. He can shoot really well, so there you go.
That does not sound like a very confident fan on that pick. I mean, I remember I was roasted. I think I got back on and roasted you a little bit for that pick. I mean,
well, I mean, outside of Grady Dick, Jet Howard is probably the second best shooter in the draft.
Better than the guy from UConn.
3-point shooter. Yeah, we can pull it up.
Listen,
I'll take a look. No, go ahead. Keep talking.
I'm just saying I've listened to a lot, like I said, a lot of podcasts after the draft, and I don't think I heard one of them, quote unquote, experts giving you guys a high five on that Jet Howard pick.
Kevin O'Connor is just,
I'm not just talking about KOC. I'm talking about all of the ones that I listened to. No, I don't think anyone thought that Jet Howard pick was smart. I mean, maybe you know this. Did they attempt to trade back and pick him later, or was there no attempt?
I didn't see anything on that. No. I mean, I think
so. That was just their guy.
Yeah, I guess. I would have been more than happy with Grady Dick at 11 just to shoot threes consistently. But I feel like Grady Dick knew he was going to Toronto with that weird ass outfit.
Look, that guy, a lot of people are hating on him, but I got to give him credit because he's just out enjoying life. I think here's the thing. The thing a lot of people forget about, right? These guys coming into the NBA right now, they're 18, 19, maybe 20 years old. They're still young men right now. I mean, they're just barely out of high school, played one year of college, and now they're becoming pros, and they're about to make some money, and now they're living their dream. They've hit their dream, So people are making fun of Grady Dick about his TikTok videos now dancing. Hello, anyone that has kids, everyone's kids are out dancing on TikTok. Not just kids, half the adults in the world do it now too. Right. So leave him alone. You're just jealous because he's gonna get paid a lot now and stuff.
Yeah, suit, and he's gonna make millions.
So, okay. So we've got the draft there. Oh, by the way, the rookies have this down to get out there. So Taylor Hendricks will be wearing jersey number 0. Everyone's wondering, okay, does that mean? I guess Talen Horton Tucker's out because he was jersey number 0. So it came out afterwards that Talen Horton Tucker is actually switching to jersey number 5. So, but that's also kind of interesting because that makes you conspiracy Daniel if you go, oh, we already know what he's switching to then, so that means he's staying. But again, officially, Talen Horton Tucker and Jordan Clarkson have not opted in or opted out of their contracts. They must make that decision by the end of this week, though. So, and we'll get to the other guy who has made a decision, but not for the Jazz, and that would be Rudy Gay. We'll get to that in a second. George will be wearing jersey number 3, and Bryce. Is it Bruce? Maybe that's going to be the new podcast. And
no, don't do that. It's Bryce.
He's going to be jersey number 8. So there's your jersey numbers for everyone wondering about that. Okay, moving on to the next news after the draft. So something interesting kind of came out. Obviously, there was a trade that happened before the draft involving the Celtics, Memphis, and Boston. Some news kind of came out after the draft about one of those guys, Porzingis.
Kristaps Porzingis, yeah.
Apparently, the Jazz were gonna be the team. Like if he had opted out of his contract or something like that, was gonna be number 1 team to offer him. And there was an article that came out, I believe, yesterday or the day before that says that made it so he goes, no, I want to go to Boston. No, I'm in. Okay, make the deal happen. He did not want to come to Utah.
Wow, really? Okay.
Yes. So as a Jazz fan over here, good. Because I would not have been on board to sign Porzingis to Utah. I'm sorry. I'm not in on that. The fact that dude had a decent year in Washington this last year, cool. But having a good year in Washington, is that really... Look at him before that. Does he ever stay healthy? Has he ever played a full season? Has he played? How many playoffs has he even played it? It's just no. Especially the money that you would have to give him probably because he's going to want pretty big money.
It was like 30-something million, right?
But but he opted
which is
in.
Big money. Yeah.
But he opted in though. If he had gone to free agency, he's probably going to get more than that.
Yeah.
So from a Jazz fan's point of view, I'm going to say thank you. I'm glad that did not happen. Oh. I got to go back to the draft real quick. I forgot something, by the way. I'm all over the place here. So the French dude that did not end up on the Jazz, thank goodness from my side.
For you, because
I was not on board. I was not on that. But apparently, speaking with the Jazz stuff, the Jazz were extremely high on him. Like if he had been there at 9, I guess they would have actually probably taken him.
Oh, wow.
And that actually kind of made it so Washington felt like they had to move up. I don't know. You know how that works. Indiana was probably using it Utah wants him.
Yeah.
They're calling us right now. So,
Well played,
But it
Indiana.
kind of makes me think though, like if Utah really wanted him, they probably could have made a deal with Indiana, right? Like
I would think so.
all
Yeah.
Washington gave them was second round picks and swapped like.
And it's not like Utah doesn't have a bunch of picks. So maybe the Pacers just played Washington.
But I guess maybe the Pacers really wanted Walker and they knew he wasn't going to be there at 9. So it's all kind of interesting. But
yeah, that's a good point too.
There's that point of it all too. So, all right, where are we at now? So we've gone over the Porzingis news. Has there been any other big news? Well, today there was some big news that came out. It's a good thing we don't. This is why I always say don't record podcasts too early in the morning because it seems like the news drops around middle of the day stuff.
Let me tell you something. At this point of the off season of the NBA, it doesn't matter when you record it. That just comes from experience doing mine. I'll record something, put it out, and then 4 hours later at 11 p.m. at night, something happens. They are not on anyone's clock.
So it was kind of funny what happened to me. So I have my Twitter notifications on. So anytime Woj sends it out, I get the ding right away for it. But I was in the middle of posting something, I think maybe on Instagram. So I didn't get a ding. So I posted, I'm looking through, I go to all my other pages, post it, look over the things. And then I get a message from someone saying, is this real or not? And I look and it's like saying John Collins trade. And I almost wanted to be like, that's fake. You didn't look. But before I did, I go to Twitter and look. I'm like, oh my God, It's real. So if you haven't heard, that John Collins guy that's been rumored to come to the Jazz for like forever. Well, it finally actually happened.
Yeah.
The Utah Jazz have acquired John Collins from the Atlanta Hawks for Rudy Gay and a second round pick. So I guess what's going to happen is Rudy Gay is going to opt into his contract and then it's going to happen officially on July 6th. So he's going to opt in. So technically he's opting in with the Jazz, but then the Jazz are going to trade him to Atlanta.
Right.
So he'll just play that final year of his deal in Atlanta. And yeah, the Jazz now have John Collins on the team after it, like literally. It feels like for the last couple of seasons, it's either the Jazz have been interested in John Collins or going to get John Collins or Tobias Harris. Oh, by the way, there's a rumor out there saying the Jazz were also interested in Tobias Harris, but that just always happened. So, crazy. I mean, this just feels like it came out of nowhere all of a sudden. I was literally getting ready to like get in the shower too. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, that's not happening anymore. I got to check in on this trade.
Sacrifice your hygiene for the team.
Dang it. But, it's so the crazy part of it too now is just like, I've said it before on the podcast. I feel like is that there's just no more of like center forwards, guards. It's just, there's bigger guys. There's just not true point guards anymore, true centers, blah, blah, blah. But now it just feels like the Jazz have some pretty tall dudes on their team now. They're swimming in length now. Let me say this first from a Jazz fan's point of view. I love this trade. Obviously, thank you, Rudy Gay, for the time that you're here. Did some awesome vet stuff. I mean, we heard it from, Walker Kessler talking about how good of a Rudy Gay vet was for him.
Right.
I've heard that in some of the post-season interviews. Like Ochai said, he really appreciated Rudy Gay for the vet experiences or the words and things like that. So I think that's going to be missed, obviously, for some of the younger guys. It's going to be interesting to see who now picks up that vet spot. Is it going to be Kelly Olynyk or whatever? But when you can trade him and a second-round pick for a guy like John Collins, that's amazing. Obviously, obviously, if we're all being smart, this is a quote-unquote salary dump for the Hawks.
They had to.
But yeah, they had to. But this feels like such a win for the Jazz. I mean, that's all I can say. It's a win. To me, this is for the Jazz, this is an A+ trade.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
For now, we got to see how he fits with the team and everything like that, obviously. But what do you say?
An A+. Yep.
What are your thoughts on the trade and all that? If you're going to give it a grade, why don't you give it a grade too?
Yeah, I would say an A for sure. It has a potential of being an A. You gave up Rudy Gay, who maybe, I don't know, gives you 8 to 10 minutes a game. You do lose a vet in the locker room. One question I had around this, and maybe you can add some context, or if it even ever came out. If you remember the year before, obviously the 21-22 season, Rudy Gay was just not playing at all under Quinn Snyder. Quinn Snyder is the coach of the Atlanta Hawks, and it felt like there was an issue with Snyder and Rudy Gay. Am I wrong on that? Did anything ever come out about that? Because Rudy Gay did not play. We were talking about why aren't they trading Rudy Gay that offseason? And then he ends up, coming in, being a good team player, a vet for all these guys, these younger guys this last year, and he actually got minutes. But wasn't that a thing, or did I make that up in my head?
I do slightly remember like a Rudy Gay being after the playoffs or whatever it was at the end of the season doing interviews and being kind of like,
he was upset.
Obviously slightly throwing the coach maybe under the bus a little bit and stuff like that. But let's be honest, I think that was just the whole end of that run of that team. And I think the whole team vibe for that was just all, I mean, if we go back and listen to, if you look at reports of like the beat writers that were around them toward the end, they were just like, they were all just like kind of like over it. Yeah. Like and stuff like that. So,
okay. But yeah, good, solid trade for Utah. John Collins had a bit of a down year last year, but I think that has a bit to do with, obviously you have Trae Young as the point guard, who shoots a lot of shots. And they had DeJounte Murray, who in turn comes in and gobbles up quite a few more shots for that team. I think John Collins can make a pretty good impact with Utah. You have Kessler at the center. You know, you said there isn't really true centers. I would say Kessler is a true center. He just has the ability to, be more at one point. But right now, he's a center. And then Markkanen and Collins can kind of play that 4/3. And I think it's going to be pretty fun. I mean, if you ever watched him, he's crazy athletic. He can get some rebounds, blocks. It's good for Utah. Really good.
Yeah, I think what's going to be interesting to see is, like you said, last year was kind of a weird season for him. It's almost like we're talking about the last of that Jazz team where they were just kind of over it, maybe. Kind of the vibe I remember watching some of the Hawks games last year, and you just could see like they were kind of maybe over it, needed a refresher and stuff
also
like that.
The other thing with John Collins, at the end of every season, there's rumors about him being on the trading block. So like at some point you got to be like, all right, my employer doesn't want me here. What am I supposed to do?
Don't feel so welcome there and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, there was just a lot of, I mean, from the outside, it feels like there was a lot of kind of drama going on with that team. And so it gives them a chance. I mean, for their side of view, like we said, with the new, CBA stuff or whatever it is coming up, they had to get rid of him. They still, I mean, they still might have to get rid of somebody. I think
they still got to figure something else out.
Yeah. So the other thing I heard now is that's kind of interesting is Collins will now be the highest paying person on the Jazz's roster. So
I think the next 2 years it's something like 53 million ish that
he's high up there. So it'll be obviously, I believe, I mean, they could do it this year, but it's next year. I believe the Jazz have to make a decision on Markkanen and do an extension like that. So obviously he could take over that role. But for now, the other thing that's interesting is that, this takes up a lot of the caps now for the Jazz. So it's going to be interesting, if Clarkson decides, if he does come back with the Jazz, obviously, I still don't think he opts in. If he stays with the Jazz, he's probably going to opt out, and they would have to work out some kind of new deal. Does a player like Collins come in? I mean, if that helps the Jazz as far as looking like more of a win now team, does that go now to Jordan Clarkson? He looks at him going, well, hell, we definitely seem like more of a possible playoff team now and stuff like that. I'm in. Yeah. Where before he was like, guys, we were more of a maybe playing team. I'm kind of, it's going to be interesting if that does anything. I just wonder if the Jazz can now afford to keep, a Clarkson, if Talen Horton Tucker and stuff like that,
opt in.
It's going to be really interesting to see. And again, like I said, those guys have to make that decision by the end of this week. To be honest, by the time this podcast comes out, they might have already made their decision. That's the way these things work, like you said. But what do you think?
Do a 24-hour stream, and anytime news pops up, we'll just comment on it.
Just come back on the pod. guys.
Hey, it's 2 a.m. I think with Clarkson, I don't know. I would imagine he's just, he's enjoyed his time in Utah, but I'd almost bet he wants to go somewhere with the potential to win a championship.
Now that's funny. Hold on real quick on that. That's funny because there's a rumor, there's a couple of teams that came out, but apparently Houston, I guess, is the number one team that has a very big interest in him.
Well,
okay. And, that wouldn't surprise me if he wants to go play with, his fellow like Puerto Rican dude down there, Jalen Green. What?
Puerto Rican?
What? Is it not Puerto Rican? No, not Philippines. Gosh, sorry. Man, I suck on that right now.
I was like,
Philippines. Sorry, my bad. I'm
Carlos
sorry.
Arroyo's down there, is he?
Maybe I am still on vacation mode right now. I apologize about that. And then if James Harden goes there, I don't know. Maybe they want to. I don't know. Who knows?
That seems like a very filled, very like just a lot of guards hanging out. But maybe he goes down there. I don't know, man. I don't know. If I'm him and he really wants a chance at a championship, there's 4 or 5 teams he should probably look into if they can afford him what he wants.
Well, that's the thing. He's, like I've said multiple times, this is going to be his quote unquote last big contract. So is he either going to maybe take a shorter version of a contract with less money because he wants to go to a contender, and then maybe does just a 1 year or 2 years somehow there? I have no idea. That's not, I mean, if I was a betting man, I wouldn't bet on that. I feel like he's more going to probably look for that bag in this last one. So we see. I feel, if I was a betting man, I would feel more.
Sorry, go ahead.
Let's move on from that. I would feel more comfortable putting betting money that somehow the Jazz bring Talen Horton-Tucker back, but in a way that he opts out and then they give him a new contract of, so he can make more, and then he's still with the team longer instead of just a 1 year and then have to deal with it. So
yeah, I don't know, man. I Clarkson is a fan favorite here, and even if he does opt in and decides to stay, that doesn't mean that he's safe, because we all know in the past how Danny Ainge has worked. He doesn't, and Justin Zanuck obviously makes decisions too, but at the end of the day, Danny Ainge doesn't care. I mean, he traded Isaiah Thomas after all Isaiah did for Boston after his sister passed. And he was just like, hey, see ya.
Business is
Jesus
business.
Christ. Woo, okay. But yeah, I don't know. I tend to think that Clarkson goes somewhere else. But I mean, he does like it here. I don't know. He's one of the few players where I'm like, I legitimately have no idea what he's going to do.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because I feel like obviously Dame Lillard's taken all the talk of the big talk things about free agency trades, blah blah blah. But I feel like Clarkson is one of those players that no one's talking about, which makes me think that most think that he's going to stay with Utah. So they're not even like either that, or is it just no one wants? Because when you look at the list of possible free agents, it feels like he should be kind of up there. I mean,
well, yeah. I mean, as if he opts out, yeah, he would be probably like a top 5, for sure, a top 10 free agent. Yeah.
Oh, just top 10. I feel like he should be above that, but maybe that's
how do you go above top 10?
I mean, I'm talking like top 5. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Like top 5 with him and all his Puerto Rican friends.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh man,
he's never coming on here.
Him and Bruce. It's fine.
Yeah.
So speaking of fan friendly guys and stuff like that, one other thing I thought was interesting was, like I said, I watched the rookie introductions today, and whenever you watch these press conferences, I can always feel like I can get a vibe off the players and stuff like that, and maybe it's just the way they're communicating to the the people interviewing and stuff. And the one out of the 3, I think it definitely was Keontae George that was the home run winner of it. Like, just the vibe you can tell is like, he was extremely well spoken. He knew to answer questions. He wasn't doing a lot of the he just gave good answers. And the other thing that you can always tell is when he can make the media laugh, like he had a joke and they laughed. I was like, boom. So the vibe, I'm telling everyone right now, he's going to be that rookie that the fans are going to be like, I really like that guy. So
okay,
put your money on Keontae George. I think he's going to be the one that vibes best with the fans. The other thing I'm wondering is the hype from fans, and maybe you're not experiencing this because you're not maybe so much into the Jazz Twitter world and things like that.
Oh, I'm knee deep in it now, bro. Since I've started this, go ahead.
I've seen a lot of people talking about, Taylor Hendricks is starting. Oh, of course he's starting.
Right.
I'm getting a little worried that people are putting him too high on a pedestal. Like, we need to calm down a little bit. Like, I understand it's exciting, a new player. He's the 9th pick. It's very exciting. But let's calm down a little bit and let him show us what he's got, right? And things like that. Let's give him an opportunity to prove himself before because here's what happens a lot of times. We'll put players or whatever up here, and then it takes them a while to get there, right? So then you start to quote unquote hate them, and then you talk crap on them. And this is where it comes in. People are like, well, this is how Jazz fans or whatever fans, other fans probably do this too, but this is why it makes it so players don't like it here, because you just talk crap on them. Well, how about you this is wise old Daniel here. Let's bring things down, let him show us what he's got, and go from there. Yeah. I don't know.
I would say
my kumbaya moment.
I would say there's maybe 4 rookies in this draft that from day one are going to start. Yeah. And you expect them to. And that's probably the first 4 picks, to be honest with you. But after that, Hendricks is going to be a good player. I do really believe that. But starting right off the bat, I thought, yes, it was going to happen before this John Collins trade, right? But there's so much stuff that's going to happen between now and even, August. So there's a lot to be determined. But yeah, I think it's better for him to come off the bench, learn behind guys who have been in the league for a while, rather than just throwing him out there and having the potential for him to just kind of lose his confidence, get killed by, like you said, people on Twitter. And maybe he doesn't pay attention to that, but I believe a lot of players do. So yeah, I'm with it. Give him to start out 15 to 18 minutes a game. Let him go out there, show what he can do. If he excels, then you give him more. But you got to I think you have to bring him along a little slowly, unless from right off the jump, you can tell, like, yeah, this guy needs to be playing more.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest about the Walker Kessler stuff of last year. Nobody had any like giant hopes for him coming in, and obviously it has to do with where he came from as far as the draft. Was he the 22nd pick, or he was late?
He was in the 20s. I can't remember the exact pick.
But like when he got here to Utah, I mean, we've talked about this. There was no expectations for him. It's let him prove it, and that's what I'm saying to everyone in Jazz Nation. Let these guys prove who they are. I mean, I don't think there's obviously Bruce doesn't. I know it's Bryce. It doesn't have as much expectations. We're gonna obviously let him. I think most of us probably expect him to go to the stars and have to work his way. It is with that. Keontae, I don't think there's much pressure on him. I think more people are excited about him. Let's say that, and then can't wait to see. But I feel like some folks are putting too much, expectations on Taylor, and I guess that's what comes when you're a lottery pick. I can understand that, but like. Let's cool the boats here a little. Is that the saying, right? Let's chill out.
That's not a saying. Cool the boats. I've never
cool the boats. Let's cool the beans.
Cool the boats.
Let's take a boat trip to Puerto Rico and chill out here. Okay. I'm just saying, like, I just worry sometimes about. I guess it just has to do with me having because I see so much of the people, replies and comments and things like that. Yeah,
you guys are a toxic fan base. I enjoy talking to you all, but you guys in the Knicks, because we connected with so many Knicks fans, if you remember last year,
right?
My God, it's like it is hard. Like, I mean, the thing I've noticed about and I'm in Orlando Magic fan groups and all of that. We've just been beat up so much that it's like we're almost cynical to a point where like Jazz fans and Knick fans, and I don't know why Knick fans are this way, but they're like, yeah, this puts us in playoff contention, top 5, all this crazy stuff. And you're like, are they looking at the same roster that I'm looking at? But I mean, it's good to be a passionate fan, but sometimes it's like, wow, what is happening out here on these in Twitter for sure.
Yeah, it can get aggressive out there for sure. So, look, if we can learn anything from this podcast, I know this podcast episode's been a little scattered. It's very exciting. We're very all over the place, but
we're gonna cool the boats here.
We're cooling some boats here. Let's cool on the boats. We're going to Puerto Rico. We're chilling out.
Yeah, with Bryce,
with Bruce.
Sorry,
Bruce
now I'm gonna mess it up
with Bruce, and Keontae and old Taylor. Let's obviously the other two we're cool on them. Let's cool down a little on Taylor and let him show us what he's got as well. I mean. If he does play in summer league, that's awesome. If he doesn't, it's not the end of the world either, folks. I know I feel like that's another thing that's about to happen. Like if the Jazz announce, he's day by day, people are going to frickin' freak out over that.
Yeah.
It's not that big a deal, folks. It's much better.
You don't win championships in summer league. Yeah. That's for sure.
Well, you can, but no one cares. No one ever remembers that stuff. So
I think my Magic have won a couple and
So it's way more important for him to be 100% ready for the actual season than him playing summer league. But think about it this way. He'll still be there. You still have a chance to meet him, I'm sure, and stuff like that. So just everything will be fine. Trust old Justin and Danny Ainge. They'll help us cool our boats. It's fine. Maybe that should be like a.
I don't even know what you're reaching for there. Cool our jets.
Cool the Jets.
Cool our jets.
That's what I was going for. Yeah, that's the one I was.
Okay.
I was a little fog-brained here. Okay. Anyways. Any other news that you want? Is there anything else going around the league? I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm sick of the whole Dame talk and stuff like that.
Yeah, it kind of seems redundant, but they did say he was meeting with Portland today. And I think once he says what he wants to do, then a lot of other dominoes will fall. If he's like, yeah, I'm in, I'll stay here with the team. We're good. We don't need to trade. Then, all right. If he wants out, then it's going to be what a summer it will be for probably a couple weeks until the trade gets done. But I saw that. Outside of that, not a lot of other news that I'm seeing.
Oh, your guy from the Magic is joining Team USA in World Cup.
Paolo.
Yeah.
Paolo Banchero. Yep. excited for him to get that experience. Also with Walker Kessler, there's a lot of good young players on there.
There-
Bobby Portis.
Yeah, that roster is going to be really fun though, because there is a lot of young guys on there, so it's going to be really quick. And so, I mean, Steve Kerr's the coach, so it's going to be really fast paced.
Yeah, I think USA basketball. It's obviously smart of them to do that because these are the guys in the next couple of years, the next couple of Olympics that would actually be playing for Team USA when guys like LeBron and all these other guys are done or retired or what have you. These are the ones that need to get used to that type of basketball. So really smart by team or USA basketball for sure.
Speaking of World Cup and all that, I mean, outside just the NBA news, Wemby, that number 1 overall pick guy, just said he will not be playing in it. He's going to dedicate his time with the Spurs and I guess getting ready for the next Olympics. So,
I mean, it makes sense. I would do the same thing if I was him because he played a whole damn season just now.
he could use a little break and stuff like that. So, I mean, I guess he'll probably play in Vegas Summer League. I think the Spurs are part of I think there's 2 summer leagues in California that they're part of one of them, but I would bet he doesn't play in the smaller one, but we'll play in Vegas Summer League.
Vegas, a couple games, maybe every other game. Yeah.
So summer, it's that time of the year where obviously the season's over, but now it kind of gets the fun part because here's what happens. The NBA Finals is over, and then it goes into draft stuff. Then we go from draft stuff to contract stuff. And then there's that period, though, where it's boring as hell, nothing's going on. But luckily this year we have the FIBA World Cup stuff, so that'll kind of substitute that area there. But
this is the fun part for people that play NBA 2K or played when they were younger or, whatever, that there's trades happening. You get the draft, you get the guys going through the summer league, you're developing your team, all of us, fake GMs out there. This is a fun part of the year for sure.
Yeah. And trades and things like that become official basically next week. So
6th, I think it's July 6th.
But is that next week, right?
Yeah.
So toward the end of next week. Yeah. So guys, it's crazy. Like I said earlier, I mean, next week is Salt Lake Summer League. And then right after that's Vegas Summer League. So there's a lot. We're here for as far as summer basketball stuff. So let me say this. Obviously, for us that live in Utah, Salt Lake Summer League is very easy to go to and stuff like that. But if you've never been to Vegas Summer League, you should. It's fun. It's very fun experience because there's fans that come in from all over the world for it and stuff like that. And there's just so many games going on. I mean, there's always 2 games at once going on there in the college. It's on the UNLV campus there. Now,
tons of players too.
And there's
players that aren't even playing in it.
There's players walking all over. There's team representatives walking around, and a lot. If you're into sports podcasts, like I know both of us are, there might be a Ryan Russillo or Bill Simmons just walking around there that you can go, hey. But it's very fun. If you have the opportunity, you should go. But just be warned, it's hotter than hell in Vegas at that time. So be ready for that too. So, but
and the opposite of San Jose, there's a lot of things to do. Too many things to do.
There might be too many things to do there. So be careful on that too. But if you're going to Salt Lake Summer League, if you're just I can only say to Salt Lake Summer League, don't worry, it's fun too because we'll be there.
Yep.
So if you come to Salt Lake Summer League, check out for us. I don't know. Maybe we'll take a sign that says, hey, come play some Jazz Nation trivia or something. But we're going to be on the outside of the arena with our microphone interviewing. Not really interviewing, but doing a game. We'll
be doing some games. We're going to ask fans what they think about the team, trivia, stuff like that. Yeah.
So we might just interview if we can, just get your thoughts on things, but also we're going to have game trivia stuff. And, obviously with the trivia, there's going to be ways to win. But just so you know, only the smartest Jazz fans will actually win. Be ready for some hard questions. So
where is Jordan Clarkson?
Is it Puerto Rico, Canada?
Is he from Dubai?
Is he safe on a boat or not? Okay.
How do you cool your boats?
And you're gonna have to be a hardcore listener to get those questions.
Yeah.
Right? But anyway, so if you're going to Summer League in Salt Lake, keep an eye out for us. We'll have some kind of sign. We'll figure out a way for you to.
Yeah. Well, you could probably just tell people on the socials too. Have them keep an eye out for that. We could say, hey, we're right outside here.
It's also fun to get people that maybe don't follow the page because then you get them to follow the page and it's like, hey, first off, down on you for not following, but hey, anyways. So long way of saying, check out for that. If you haven't checked out the YouTube page, you should check out the YouTube page. I feel like the YouTube page is booming lately. It's doing good on stuff, obviously.
Yeah, we had a fun time with that draft, live draft reaction.
The draft live stream, if you didn't watch it live, it's still available on the page. So you can go back and watch it and stuff like that.
3 hours and 15 minutes of it.
So just search, anymore. If you just search for Jazz Nation, it pops up right there. It shows our this logo up here. Let's see. You got to point up.
This
one there. Anyways, it's the throwback logo that's up because look, I understand the Jazz right now are that yellow and black and white logo, but I just, and I respect it, but that throwback one's my favorite. Anyway, so that's the logo. If you see us on YouTube, that's it. Subscribe, watch the videos, let us know if you like them and stuff like that. The Walker Kessler interview's up there. Really great interview. If you haven't watched that, check that out. The Patreon page. I'm working really hard right now. I promise, folks. I'm trying to get some more interviews for us on there.
We are, and we are scheduling and rescheduling.
Look, when you try and get players and stuff like that, everyone's busy. So reschedules happen, reschedules. So they're coming. I'm working my best on that. Patreon.com/JazzNation.
Oh yeah.
Again, the links for everything, you can find all the pages for us. Just go to linktree.com/JazzNation News. And Mr. Assistant to the host, you have your own stuff to promote here, so tell everyone about them, please.
Yep, the Will Wonder Pod comes out every week. We will come out Wednesday morning. Obviously, talking draft recaps, continuing to celebrate hip hop's 50th birthday as well. At the Will Wonder Pod on Instagram, at DJ Will Wonder on Twitter, the Will Wonder Pod YouTube as well. Within the next couple of weeks, we have some things going on there. So, yep, just get in with all of that. Get on the boats or cool them. Get it. Don't cool them. Make them hot. The boats for the Will Wonder Pod. There you go.
Just watch your boats and be safe out there, folks, on your journey to Puerto Rico or wherever you might be going there.
San Jose.
But Mono's probably not back to there anytime soon, to be honest. Look, if anyone from San Jose is listening to this, please message me and tell me how I screwed up. Because if I messed up, I want to know how I can go back and do it better.
How old was the Uber driver? Was he an older person? Human?
So here's the funny thing is on the ride from the airport to the hotel, that person tells us that. And then I did about 3 other Uber rides who also told me the same place.
Okay.
And then when I got the Uber ride, as I'm leaving from the hotel to the airport, I get this new one and she's like, yeah, downtown's kind of boring, but if you had just gone 5 or 8 minutes that way, I was like, why didn't the other one say that?
Why didn't you Google some stuff too?
Just because, when I go on places like that, I like to ask the locals, the Uber drivers. I expect them. I kind of expect that, not to saying it's their job to do that, but usually, they're driving people around and people are probably going to say, what's to do around here? So
you are 100% right.
It's like when you go to a place and you ask them like a new place to eat, what do you suggest here? Good sir, ma'am, what's good to eat here? And if they just tell me, we got this one thing. Okay, that's kind of lame.
Got this one street. You got to be all in on it.
Yeah, it's one good street. The market over there. But anyways, if you're San Jose folks, tell me what I screwed up on and where I should go back and what's better there. I would love to hear your advice. For everyone else that lives wherever you live, thanks for listening to the podcast. Thanks for watching on YouTube. Be safe in your boats. Listen to us when we're back on another edition of the Jazz Nation podcast. Have a great day and bye-bye.